Selamat
It's
sabat.
okay.
Kita lagi beribadah
We
di
can operate from
Seventh Day Adventist Church Cannington.
just 1 minute. Can you
Khotbah
guess what
oleh
is the story is all
Mr.
about?
Bilbul.
What is the ceremony is all about? When the promised land is at sight. When the promised land is at sight, we are talking about the journey of the Israelites. We remember that the Israelites set up their journey. They went from Egypt going to the promised land. How many years it takes for them to complete the journey? You know? Yeah? 40 years. That's right. It's working now. So we are the Indonesian ministry. We have opening Sabbath every 2 weeks. So every fortnight we meet each other. We meet from house to house, and we discuss. We have a Bible study, and we have a fellowship dinner together. And also we have Bible program. If you want to join us, I will join our meeting. You can contact us, and it's open for everybody because we want to have fellowship together. We want to teach our kids that it doesn't need alcohol to have a good time together. It doesn't need a party to celebrate Sabbath. Okay. This is Indonesia. Maybe some of you have never been to Indonesia. This is Indonesia is a bordering country of Australia, very close to Australia. But I think that you know this, right? Bali. You know that Bali is Indonesia? Yes. Bali is one of the islands in Indonesia. And I came from on the other side of Indonesia, on the northern side. The city where I came is Manado. Manado is a famous Adventist city because in this city we have more than 400 churches, 400 Adventist churches in the city alone. Yes. In Western Australia we have one conference only, but in Manado we have 5 local conferences. Yeah. And we have the universities there, the Adventist hospitals there, and so on and so on. Okay, I work in the Adventist University. This is the name of the university, Universitas Kelaba. It has 3,500 students. Okay, in Accordia we have less than 1,000, but there we have 3,500 students. We have a big chapel, a big church inside the university. It can accommodate up to 1,500 people, and it is from the inside. Okay, maybe just like this, just a little bit bigger than Cannington, just maybe. Okay, go back to the sermon again. Remember, when the promised land is at sight, it is where the struggle is going on. Because the hardest challenge is always at the end of the journey. Remember when you fly, before you land, there will be a voice saying that, please take your seatbelt. Why? Because we are about to land. Landing is the hardest challenge in the journey. There's a saying says that when the going get tough, the tough get going. Thank you very much. It's very good saying. You like that, right? Okay, Canaan, 40 years ago. Remember that after they started from Egypt, they already reached Canaan. They already reached a very close side of Canaan. Canaan was on site. It just crossing the river. Right? 40 years ago, they set up 12 spies. And then the 12 spies came back with mixed report. Some of them says that we cannot beat them. We are as small as a grasshopper compared to them, as small as the locust compared to the people in the land. Okay, we cannot defeat them. And after God says, okay, turn back, and they stubbornly disobey God
Isabat
during the time.
nagkadasan mo.
And God says, for the punishment, you will go wander around the wilderness for 40 years of lockdown.
Arlin Sir.
There's no communication outside. So it's a hard border policy for the Israelites, right? So if you have a lockdown here for how many weeks? How many months? 6. Okay, maybe 1 year. It will until next year maybe. Remember that Israelites have a lockdown for
40
40
years.
years. Right? And during the time you're rounding up, you're going around in the wilderness, there's no food, there's no source of water, so everything is provided by God. They need to depend solely on God's protection. Remember, in the wilderness, in the desert, it was very hot during the day, and it was very cold during the night. And that's why God protected them with pillars of cloud during the day and pillars of fire at night time. They depend only on Him. At the end of 40 years, they come and almost getting into the promised land. But there stands a nation in front of them, and the nation is Moab. You know, Moab is actually a friend, a relative to Israelites. Because Moab is the son, the descendants of Lot. You know Lot, right? So this is actually their family. They're facing their family. That's why they don't want any trouble with the Moabites. They said that we just want to pass through your land. But they're scared of Israelites. Numbers 32, verse 2 and 3, it says that now Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that all Israel has done to Amorites, and Moab was terrified. What is terrified? Scared, not just scared. Terrified. Moab was filled with dread because of the Israelites. Why they are scared of the Israelites? Because nobody lived in the wilderness. Nobody stayed there. And this nation, they already conquered the desert. They lived there for 40 years. This is a special nation. Can you imagine that they have a God who provides food for this nation for each day during the 40 years of wandering throughout the desert, throughout the wilderness. When you are under protection, God will take care of everything for you if you follow God.
Amen.
Okay, the sermon today will center around these three lessons to take. Lesson number 1, there's a spiritual battle going on to harm God's people. We need to realize that as we study in the Sabbath school, there's a spiritual battle right now asking for your attention. Whose attention the kids will follow. Okay? The second one is Israel become vulnerable when they took a rest in fertile land. When they took a rest in a fertile land, it is the time that most vulnerable for them. And number 3, apostasy start with a small compromise and they bring it to the tent. Okay, after this lesson, my sermon ends. Okay, I don't know what time, because it's already past 12. I don't know what time it usually ends here, but I hope that you will last until the end, because when the journey comes to last, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Okay, Balak summons Balaam, a prophet from Petor. It takes 2 weeks, a journey from Petor to the land of Canaan. Okay, He knows that when Balaam bless someone, he is blessed. And when Balaam curse someone, the person is cursed. Okay? When Israel proves too hard to defeat with human strength, the two men try to take down her God. There's a spiritual battle going on. And it started with Balaam itself. Do you know the story? What is it about? It's about a talking donkey. If God can talk through donkey, He also can talk to me, right? Okay. What happened is the donkey doesn't want to go because he sees there is an angel trying to slay, to kill anybody who passes his through. And the donkey talked to Balaam. And the angel says, if the donkey keeps going on, you definitely will die. The donkey saved your life. Right? There's a spiritual battle that sometimes we don't see it, but it's there. It's there. And Balaam, when he reached the kingdom of Balak, he says that he wants to speak only the words put on his mouth by God. And then this is what he says. When he sees the Israelites, he asks to sacrifice 7 cows, 7 ox. After the sacrifice, he looked to the camp of Israelites and he says that no misfortune is seen in Jacob, no misery observed in Israel. The Lord their God is with them. There is no divination against Jacob, no evil omens against Israel. It means that when God protects you, nothing can harm you. When God is with you and you are following Him, nothing can come to your way because God is there. So what Balak do? Okay, Balak, I'll go take you to another mountain. Maybe if you have a different perspective, maybe you can find a fault in Israel and you start to curse them. Right? That happened for 3 times. But Balaam cannot curse them because they stay faithful, blameless in the eyes of God. This is the battle. This is the real battle. You know that when Balaam came to curse, when Balaam came to curse, but he cannot, when Balaam attempted to do that 3 times from different directions, did Israel knows what he is doing? No. We don't know what's going on up there, but there is a God and there is Satan also want to fight over our minds, fight over our attention. Okay? Last week I watched the Netflix movie. It's a documentary called Social Dilemma. It talks about how this social media is taking your attention. So that is taking your mind. Okay? It attempts to make you distracted. And by doing that again and again, there are 2 things that they give. The first one, they want you to be addicted to them. And the second one, they can control your mind so that they can change your behavior. Only by looking, we are changed. Just like what this God says, right? By beholding, we are also changed. This is the real battle. And we need to know that God is always want the best for you. God is always want to protect you and not to harm you. Second lesson. The second lesson says that when Israel become vulnerable when they took a rest in fertile land. The text is found in Numbers 25 verse 1. Numbers 35 verse 1, it says that Israel settled down and remained in Sittim. If you notice several passages before, in Numbers 22, in Numbers 21, Numbers 20, it always says that Israel stopped for a while. They camp out and then they move. They camp out and then they move. They camp out and move again. But now they camp and settle and remain. When the church stops, something is about to happen. When you want to take a rest, when you say that, okay, we are just too tired for doing God's work, let's just relax for a while. Be careful when you do that, right? When Israel abode in Shittim, that's the time that it is recorded in the history of Israel. It's the most difficult time for them, and it happens in a fertile land of Shittim. Shittim is located very in the bank of the Jordan River, and it is a very good place. Remember when Lot set his eyes to this place, and he says that this is the garden of God. Everything is green. They never taste this fruit before. Maybe the children of Israel started to take a swimming lesson. They never swim during the time. I don't know if they take a bath, but not swim, right? So this is a good place for them. Just like Australia, when we came here, oh, we have everything here. We have internet, we have hot water. Not just like that. We have electricity. You know, in Indonesia, you have to appreciate for electricity. When you have 74 hours electricity, 7 days a week, it's good. But here in Australia, it is something that you take it for granted, right? When it is a fertile land, be careful. Do not lower down your guard. Do not lower down your guard. You need to be careful because this is the time that is most vulnerable to you. Because the next thing you know, according to Numbers 25 verse 1, while Israel was staying in Shittim, the man began to indulge in sexual immorality with Moabite woman. And it all started up with something small. The Moabite woman who invited them. So remember, the woman who invited the God of Israel's, the man from Israel, to come to offer sacrifice to their God. The people ate the sacrificial meal and bowed down before this God. And be careful about that. It all started with small things. It all started with reading the magazine of Moab. It all started with listening to Moabite music. It all started with watching Moabite's TV show. Okay? Going to the Moabite cinema. What else? It all started like this. Starting to have a small party with the Moabites. Try to drink Moabites drink. Oh, this is alcohol. This is nice, right? And it always started with a sip of alcohol, right? Then things get worse and worse and worse. And after that, all that they know, they are worshiping the idol. The idol of Moab is called Peor. They are worshiping Peor. They're sacrificing their children. They are doing indulgence immoral with the women of Moabites. So, according to the book of Numbers, it says that Israel yoked themselves to Baal of Peor, and the Lord's anger burned against them. When Israel and Moab are, paired together, the anger of the Lord is upon them. Now, God who used to be their protection, now God is their enemy. Because during the time in the Bible, in Numbers 25, it says that the plague sent by God is upon Israel. Okay? The plot, maybe just like coronavirus right now. Okay? The plot of God came to fill the land of Israel, and during the time, 24,000 men in Israel died instantly because of the plot. Be careful with compromise. When you start to compromise, when you started to lower down God, started to accept immorality or other things from outside, when we started to declare, to accept, what do you call it, homosexual wedding, gay marriage, that's all started up. That's why we have coronavirus nowadays. Maybe this is a plan from God to ask us to repent, to ask us to come back to Him. He want us, please don't do it. Number 3, lesson number 3. It's a short sermon, okay? Number 3, apostasy starts with a small compromise and sneaks into the tent. Again, the women of Moabites come into the tent. They sneak. I believe that they sneak on at night, when no one is listening. They're going around, and then the God of Israel said, "This way, this way, this way. No one's watching. Come through this way. Try to hide." And then they're already inside. And you know what happened when they are inside, right? Numbers 25 verse 6, it says that, "Then an Israelite man brought into the camp in a Midianite woman right before the eyes of Moses." So at first they come at night only. Okay? After that they come maybe more and more of them come at night, so it becomes a usual practice. Nobody will turn their eyes off them anymore. It is acceptable. And one day, an Israel brought into the camp a Midianite woman right before the eyes of Moses and the whole assembly of Israel while they were weeping at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So when it happens, this guy brought a Moabite woman, and then Phinehas saw this. He took a spear in his hand and drove the spear into both of them, right to the Israel man and into the woman's stomach. Then the blood against Israelites were stopped. If you want to end the plague, you need to have a drastic things to change. A lot of things need to change, but we need to worship the Lord. We need to clean up our tent from idols. We need to clean up our tents of all these things that may hinder us to worship the Lord. Apostasy in sinning, you know what, is caused by an insider. And again, we came to see the same enemy. According to Numbers 31, it says that, "Have you allowed all women to live when Israel finally killed all Moabites?" Okay? Because of this, Israel says that either we fight them or we die against them. So, Israel killed all of them. No one is spared. Only women. But not all women. Those who commit adultery also killed at sight. "Have you allowed all the women to live?" He asked them. They were the one who followed Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful to the Lord in Baal incident, so that a plague struck the Lord's people. Wow. Balaam knows that nothing can be said about Israel as long as they remain faithful. But when they are committing something wrong from the inside, God will be their enemy. This is the way to corrupt them. This is the way to invite them, right? And you know what? The word Balaam is recorded in the entire Bible. You can find it in the big book of Micah. You can find it in the book of Revelation, the book of Jude, the book of Peter. It all talks about the same thing. Be careful because the enemy may come from the inside. The insider will tell the world what is your weakness, and the insider will expose you to whole new danger. It all starts with a little compromise. Beware of Balaam. You know the story of camel? One day a camel and the rider, the rider says that, well, I want to camp here for tonight, and it was raining. So the camel, you stay out, I stay inside the tent. And then the camels tried to sneak in his head. At first not his head, only his nose, the nostril. I just want to put my nose inside the tent so that no one can get wet. Right? After the nose, it comes with the head. And then the neck. And then the front, one of the front leg. And then both front leg. And finally, the camel inside. And the man outside. Because there is no more room for both of them. And this is what happened with us now. As we try to open up for new things, open up for compromise. When we started to compromise things, our truth, Satan will sneak in. Okay, little by little. And the end up, we know that Martin Luther says that when I see the word, I see a church. But now, when I see a church, I see the word inside the church. Right? Okay, remember the story again? Micah 6 verse 5 says, my people, remember what Balak king of Moab plotted, and what Balaam son of Beor answered. Remember your journey from Shittim to Gilgal, that you may know the righteous path of the Lord. Remember this. Do not forget this. This is why we teach our children the Bible story. We teach them again and again. Every Friday night, it's a meeting. We have Bible study only for the children because we want them to know all of this Bible story, to learn the moral lesson. Because this is what you need to do. Remember what Balaam did. Right? Again, this is the lesson for today. I think I still have one more text for you here. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 11 says that this thing happened to them as example and written down as warning for us. What happened to Israel during the time? Okay, the context is talking about Israelites. It is a warning to us who are entering the promised land. As we about to reach the end of our journey, we remember that when the journey gets tough, the tough gets going. The deception, the greatest deception at the end. Last night I watched a sermon from Dr. Bachelor. The title of the sermon is this: The Greatest Deception at the End Times. And you know what? What is the greatest deception at the end of times? The greatest deception is when Satan tell you, yes, this thing is wrong, this thing is dangerous, but it will never get personal with you. I'm alright. I'm immune to that. I'm alright. Yes, there is a COVID-19. Yes, it is dangerous, but it will never touch my family. Okay? As long as I do my things, I'm alright. I should be alright. It speaks what the devil says to Eve. You surely will not die. You surely will not die. Yes, Sin is a sin, but I can get out of it if I want to. I will not get addicted. If I just want to stop, I can do it. That's the greatest deception of all time. You know Cristiano Ronaldo? He's the one who always doesn't want to wear mask. Okay? You know the story, right? He doesn't want to wear the mask during this time. You see the picture? Even the game manager come to him and says, "Please put on your mask." Everybody's put on their mask, only you didn't do that. Right now, he is in quarantine. He is positive with COVID-19. You know that, right? You know the story about this? I think everybody knows about it, right? During the debate, one used mask and the other one doesn't want to use mask. Okay, I'm the president of the United States. How come the COVID can come to me? I'm immune to that. Remember, sin is just like that. No one is immune. The greatest deception Satan can do is, it will never touch me. The Israelites is vulnerable when they stop camping, when they stop doing their journey, when they settle in a prosperous country. Remember, when the going gets tough, the tough need to get going because you're going through the promised land. Matthew 24, verse 10 and 13. At the time, many will turn away from faith and will betray and hate each other. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved.
Amen.
Stand firm to the end where the promised land is at sight. This is my message. Thank you very much for listening. God bless all of you.
Amen.
I think we still have one more song, right?